We're renovating a 40-year-old traditional Japanese tatami room into a Western-style room. Last time, we added insulation under the tatami flooring. Then we installed new flooring over it. This time, we're working on the ceiling. We're bringing in red pine ceiling battens, 30 mm by 40 mm, that we'll use for the framing. They're heavy, and my lower back is definitely feeling it. Kazu makes it look effortless, though. Originally, we planned to just overlay 5.5 mm plywood on the existing ceiling and finish it with wallpaper. But the existing furring strips, nobuchi, were too few and unstable, so the whole ceiling felt soft and bouncy. Since we'll be hanging heavy sliding doors and want a smooth finish, we decided to rebuild it from scratch.
This 天井下地ってどうやって組むの？鉄骨の時って。
これ低いよね、高さが。天井だからこれがね、2003。枠がね、天井にベタっとついてるような感じの収まりになりますね。ちょっと低すぎん
While most ceilings finish around 2,400 millimeters, this house only has 2,380 millimeters under the beam. To make things worse, the floor isn't level, so the ceiling height varies slightly depending on where you measure. We've already ordered new closet sliding doors that make full use of the opening. But now, we're not sure if we can even get that much clearance. We're making a measuring stick that marks the distance from the floor to the ceiling framing height. Door frame height, 2,306 millimeters, plus 3 millimeters clearance, plus 9.5 millimeters board, plus 30 millimeters ceiling framing, equals required ceiling height, 2,378.5 millimeters. At the lowest point, under the beam bolt, we only have 2,380 millimeters. We check the level line with a laser and measure any floor deviations to see if we can secure the ceiling height. Looks like we just barely have enough height to make it work. Maybe it's because I've been so well behaved lately. Mine, obviously.
Oh, レーザーからちょうど100ミリ。すご。奇跡的やね。
The spot exactly 100 millimeters above the laser lines up perfectly with the framing mark. It's a small thing, but it honestly made my day. And just when things were going smoothly, trouble shows up. The framing behind the wall is all over the place. Some spots don't even have any. We can't build ceiling framing on this flimsy 4mm plywood. Maybe that's why the old molding in the tatami room was just glued in place.
こっちは大丈夫だけど、こっちは下地がこの辺からしかないんだ。
We run a mason's line to check if the wall is straight. Turns out, the wall isn't straight. It's actually curving. We pre-marked the furring runners with layout lines spaced at 1 shaku, about 30 centimeters. Using a laser measurer, we check the length for each furring strip. We group pieces of similar length and cut them slightly shorter ahead of time.
3933にしよう。
これがな、戻んなくなっちゃう。
This is our 65mm high-pressure nail gun, which has been acting up lately. It keeps jamming constantly.
何が詰まったんだろうね。うわっ
Attaching ceiling framing is usually the easy part. But of course, it's not going as planned.
ダメだ。ちょっとやばいな、これ。
We mentioned this back during the demolition episode, but light gauge steel houses are basically a bunch of separate boxes placed inside a sturdy steel skeleton. The strength comes from the steel frame on the outside, so the boxes inside don't need structural strength. Those boxes aren't tightly joined to the structure. They're more like loosely fixed in place. Since there are no beams or posts inside these boxes, it's tough to add new framing components. This type of steel frame construction continues to be a real headache for us.
75で打つか。
This is easily twice as frustrating as a normal renovation. In traditional Japanese wood framing, posts and studs are regularly spaced and connect all the way up to the beams. That makes ceiling framing a lot easier. But behind this wall, we only have thin horizontal furring strips. So we add new framing that fits snugly along the existing wall base. Then we anchor the ceiling framework by clamping it into that wall framing. We check each screw to make sure it holds and drive them in carefully. Sometimes there's no clear answer. You have to figure it out yourself. After a lot of fussing, we finally framed the perimeter with furring strips. Next, we're running furring runners across the ceiling at 3 shaku, about 90 centimeters intervals. We stretch a mason's line across the center of the room, at the 6 shaku mark. We align the line with the layout marks we drew earlier at 1 shaku intervals. Then we screw down the ends to fix everything in place. All the layout marks line up in a straight line. This is where the boundary of the room will be, where the sliding door will go. At this point, we hang the ceiling framework to make sure it's level and straight. Since there's no hanging point, we insert spacers and attach the framework to the steel beam. Raising the center of the ceiling slightly into a dome shape gives the room a more spacious feel. We attach hangers to the main beam, check the level with a laser, and screw them into the furring runners. This is where the closet doors barely fit. We mount it at just the right height, door frame plus 3 mm clearance. After all the hassle, we looked up and realized the sun was already setting. My clumsy handling didn't help. Kazu-san was clearly getting stressed out. We stagger the joints on the furring strips so they don't align in one spot.
もうガッと感動で俺落ちへんで大丈夫。しっかりしてもらう。親指痛ないよね。オッケー。離すで。はい。振り切っちゃった。お願いで。いやー、苦しい時それ切っちゃった。ショック。あ、ショックだね。重い。
I've never lifted anything heavier than chopsticks. This is tough. Looking up while working is really taking a toll on me. Different carpenters and job sites have their own methods for ceiling framing, especially when it comes to board seams. Some double them up, some use wider lumber, or go with denser or thicker materials. It took all day, but we finally finished the wooden ceiling framework.
棚の奥行きが600やろ。石膏ボードが 12.5 ミリ。
Now we mark the layout lines for the closet.
10センチあって、枠が156ミリ。これが棚、これが枠。で、これが間柱の位置。
We're planning to install 2 large closets right here.
一寸逃げて、ここにします。
We're adding extra framing to support the lintel for the closet doors.
あ、届かない。
While I was off getting the drywall ready, Kazu filmed this part himself. This might be random, but I personally love the grid-like look of freshly framed ceilings. I don't want to cover it with drywall. Kazu came in early and finished up the framing all by himself, then cleaned the whole site. A lot has happened, but now we can finally relax a bit. No more second guessing, no more confusion, just full speed ahead with the work. We've brought in the drywall.
おはようございます。
はい、今日は天井のボードを貼っていきます。
久しく貼ってない。
なんかもう1年2年ぐらい貼った記憶がないですね。ちょっと忘れちゃいました、貼り方。ちょっと頑張って貼っていきます。こっち面やな。こんなやな。
奥詰まってる感じがする。
There are leftover nails in the wall. Classic renovation problem. We've run into this 1,000 times on remodels.
もうちょっと向こう行きますね。真ん中じゃないねんけど。
手がいいよ。
出るかな。ちょっと切った方がいい。
いきなり切るか。
The wall is badly out of square, so nothing's lining up properly.
こっちが1センチぐらいになっちゃう。
1センチでも打てるわ。
打てる。全部
Kazu's head is big, great for stabilizing things.
はい、テイク2です。
支えてもらうだけでいいです。
I'm super kind, so I'm holding up the ceiling board with a stick. Since I'm so nice, I'll help guide the wire through the hole.
中心大体 OK やな。 299でいいよ。299と3965。
I'm marking the screw locations on the board to make things easier. Because I'm so nice, of course. I keep feeding boards to Kazu without giving him a moment's rest. We're adding framing for the ceiling access panel here. Truth is, we actually forgot to do it earlier. They say 9.5mm boards tend to flex, which makes ceiling installs a pain. But there's no way I could hang a 12.5mm board by myself. Because, you know, I'm delicate. Yesterday we spent the whole day on the ceiling framing, but the drywalling was done in no time. Now that we've come this far, the rest should be a breeze. Or so we thought. Next time, the final episode, maybe?
Ah! こういうのが出るのかな。
違う。どれが出とんの？晴れんって。晴れん。